Hey guys, welcome back to the show. It's Danny Elliott. Thank you for watching me today. Please hit the thumbs up on the way in. Today we're going to talk about the biggest fraud in history, also known as the baby boomers' favorite welfare program, also known as Social Security. That's right. The commissioner of the biggest fraud in history. She defended her post until the last minute, and then she took the buyout because, you know, that's what government bureaucrats always do. The golden parachute at the end. They never retire. They always take disability retirement. So, Michelle King, 30 years as a bureaucrat in Washington. But, yeah, she defended her post until the last minute because they're being audited. Government bureaucrats don't want to be audited, guys. They want to audit you every step of the way through your entire life. They want to tax you. They want to slow you down everywhere you go, everything you do. We've been hearing the media tell us for nearly 50 years how all our money was in a lockbox, that it was a trust fund, that nobody could ever touch this money. It was in the safest place you could ever store a stash of cash. That was the Social Security Trust Fund. Now we're finding out that there's tens of millions of people 100 years old or older. Some of them are over 200 years old. We got tens of millions of people hundreds of years old that are collecting money. Or we have millions of people in government who are fraudulently taking money from dead people. And by the way, if Musk ever gets to the bottom of it, every single one of these fraudsters in government that's cashing these checks, they should all be thrown in prison. Just to make an example of them. You know? Because they're the ones that are watching us. Everything we do, they're looking for ways to take more of our money. Every single day, they are looking for ways to scam us out of our money. But they've been... I mean, you're telling me there's people over 240 years old? Like thousands of them? And we're just supposed to say, oh yeah, this is totally legit. And, you know, the media, oh yes, these are very concerning things that the personal information of the 240-year-olds could be possibly revealed. Oh, good Lord. That would be such an awful thing. We wouldn't want to reveal any personal identifying information of any 240-year-olds, guys, you know? And we can't be messing with any of their data. I just got a letter from the Division of Tax, and they're telling me they had another data breach. So basically, just because I filed my taxes, like, I'm subject to having my data stolen. I'm a tax subject of the United States government, so my information can be stolen. But if you're a fraudulent bureaucrat, if you're a scam artist, and you're using some social security number of some 200-year-old person to collect tax money and just like feather your own nest in Washington, then yeah, that's totally fine. Nobody's got a problem with that, right? That's the new United States government. I want to talk to you guys about Social Security today because I want you guys to go back in time with me to the history of Social Security, right? So there was a lady named Ida Mae Fuller. I think she was born in 1875. I don't have all my notes in front of me, but let me just go off the top of my head. She began working in 1905. She was a secretary. She had a regular job, just like someone who works in customer service today. She put in $24.75 to Social Security. She worked for like 35 years, something like that. At the end of that, in adjusted for $2023, off that $24.75, she collected almost $500,000 in benefits. Adjusted for $2025, it was over $500,000 in benefits for an investment of $24.75. So Ida Mae Fuller is the most successful Social Security investor, since it's a trust fund, since it's an investment in the history of the world. So, but I want you to think about that, because we've been putting money into this for years, decades. You know, what are we going to end up really getting back out of it, guys? I just went and dropped another $100 at the grocery store. You know, just buying like fresh fruits and vegetables and yogurt and chicken and steak. You know, another $100, there it goes. But just think of what we're actually going to get when we get those Social Security payments, you know? And just think of how diluted it's been because of so many people scamming off the system, you know? Just like, what would we really do if we didn't have all of this government-created inflation and we were actually able to keep all of our money and not just hand it over to the federal government so that they can steal it from us, basically? Ida Mae Fuller lived in the times before, you know, the great expansion of government that we're dealing with today. Prior to 1981, the government never spent $1 trillion in a single year. Now, the government spends $1 trillion a year just in interest payments on the debt. We're just running out of taxpayers. Like, the taxpayers have no money left over after the government takes it all, after all of it is taxed. And the salaries are not keeping up with the taxes. You know, with the cost of the food and cost of shelter, fuel, everything else. It just doesn't keep up. I'm sick and tired of paying for the biggest fraud in history. You know, that's why I want to be out. I don't want to be a U.S. taxpayer anymore. This is only the tip of the iceberg, you know, as far as how much stealing is going on down in D.C. And I mean, that's why the media just, they're coming up with all these excuses why we need to protect it. You know, protect the scam. Don't let DOGE in. That's all the media has. We should be very concerned about what's going on with, you know, the audit of the Social Security Administration because of dates of birth and Social Security numbers. I mean, really? Like, we've already discovered that, like, most of the people that are fraudulently receiving benefits are dead people. So I think the next step for the team DOGE is we should try to figure out who's cashing these checks. We should start to follow the money, you know, if we really want to clean up the biggest fraud in history. Let's follow the money and let's find out who's cashing the 200-year-olds' checks. All right? So, but anyways, that's my episode on Social Security, the biggest fraud in history. Shout out to Michelle King. It was a good run, but, you know, we've reached the point in our history where now we have the technology. You know, it only takes us about a couple of days and, you know, some 22-year-olds who don't qualify for placement through HR, but are doing God's work, you know, discovering all of this fraud, waste, and abuse down in Washington, D.C. So keep up the good work, boys, and I'll catch you in the next episode. Thanks for watching. I'm Danny Elliott.